What's up, everybody? Thought we'd do a little follow-up video to the creepy video because there's some good questions. I know guys out there are worried. One guy was saying, man, I think I'm too old. I'm worried about chicks' age. I gotta find out their age. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. That's just in your brain, man. That's in your brain.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our series on the definition of creepiness and how to avoid it.
Being weird and creepy and just freaking girls out is one of those things guys tend to worry about a lot. I think that's one of the main reasons so many guys are struggling out there, right? Because they're worried about how they're going to come across as they go and talk to some ladies. So I thought I'd address a couple more of these things. First of all, authentic curiosity. Like if a woman really feels like you're genuinely interested in her, that's a G with a capital G, right? Genuinely interested. Not like I'm going to try and ask these questions and then that'll be good enough to get her phone number. No. If you just bring that general curiosity for human beings into your conversations. And this is another thing that you can't really fake it or just do it just because you want to meet chicks. It's like I talked about in my other video, where you have to work on your life overall, where you feel good about yourself and you have a positive vibe. Same thing with this. You want to develop your natural curiosity for people and just really start to study how fascinating people are, their little ticks and how they're weird and their belief systems, whether they're like really fascinating or really weird or totally crazy or whatever it is, and like what happened in their life that led them to be the person that they are. It's so fascinating, right? Human beings are fascinating. And so if you're talking to a woman and she really feels that you're really interested in figuring out her story, it's really something magical. There's something magical to that. So I'm just gonna say that there is one of the main things. The other thing is just really having a good time. So really having fun. Like if you're having fun, it's difficult to come off as weird if you're just joking around having a good time. If it's authentic, if you're really in that mode of like entertaining yourself and laughing and having fun. And so that's a lifelong process, getting to that place where you're just comfortable in your own skin. But anything you can do to just become a more fun in the moment person is really, really useful. I give a lot of those tips away in my email newsletter sometimes, just saying. Okay, so when it comes down to not being creepy, I'll tell you who's really good at that. Mr. Mike Doretto, my main coach in North America. Woo! And I'll tell you why. Because he hasn't just been working with me for like forever, but he's actually a swinger. So he goes around on boats with his wife, and they're hooking up with tons of people. Hey, don't judge it. You don't know if you like it or not. You've never done it before. You don't even know. And so it takes a lot of social calibration to be able to meet random people and work out like the comfort zones and what's okay, what's not okay, and then to basically go and hook up with other people's wives. It's a whole thing. So let's see what he has to say on this topic.
If you're not telling a woman that you have an interest in her, if you're not telling a woman that you find her sexually attractive, if you're not telling a woman that you want to go on a date with her, but you're saying everything else, you're still being creepy. When your outsides are not matching your insides, you are creeping somebody out, right? So if authenticity is the cure for creepiness, how come we can't just run around speaking exactly what's on our mind and knowing that we're going to be okay? Well, that's because we also have to be calibrated to the situation that we're in. If you show a lack of calibration, a lack of sensitivity to your environment or the circumstances you're in, you will also creep people out because they will become uncomfortable with the knowledge that you don't know how to behave. For example, if you show up to a funeral wearing bright, loud colors, playing rap songs on your boombox and screaming when you talk because you've been drinking, well, obviously that's incredibly inappropriate for the environment that you're in. Everyone else there can rightfully assume that you're a problem. They should avoid you. They should get away from you. In fact, they shouldn't even let you in if possible, because you're showing either a lack of knowledge on how to behave or an unwillingness on how to behave. And that means you're being antisocial. And obviously no one wants to be around an antisocial person. So we have to be honest, but we also have to be calibrated and sensitive to what's going on around us. So I'll give you some examples. One of the very common ways that women get creeped out is by guys hitting on them at work. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first one being that most of the guys doing this are not calibrated enough to the situation to make the woman not feel cornered. Because she's working, she's probably in a small area of space, so she might be actually physically cornered, can't leave the store or can't get out from behind the desk. So God forbid you said something that she would really become upset with. Now she feels like she's forced to stay there and deal with you, otherwise she might lose her job. So that could make her feel cornered. Some women don't want to be approached at work at all because they always feel that way, instead of saying that sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's not okay. For the women for whom sometimes it is okay, it's really a matter of calibration, which is recognizing that situation and being able to say something like, hey, I hope this is okay. I don't want to offend. I don't want to get you in trouble. These are all the pre-frames that we teach when we're teaching our boot camps. You walk up to the person and you say, I see the situation that's going on here. I have some intelligence and sensitivity to it, but I still need to be honest. I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again, and you are one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen. Let's go on a date, right? That is not creepy behavior. That is straightforward, direct, honest behavior, showing a sensitivity to your environment and to the emotions of the woman. Here's another tip for how to avoid being creepy. Ask yourself, if I was a woman in this situation, would this behavior make me uncomfortable? In other words, use your empathy. So you look at the situation before you go into it and say, if I was in her shoes and I had done to me what I'm planning on doing to her, would I respond well? And when you're putting yourself in a woman's shoes, make sure that you increase your sensitivity to things like, rudeness, profanity, or weak-looking behavior, like bad body language or things like that. If you said, well, the female version of me would appreciate what I'm about to do, well, then go do it. Go do it and stand by your behavior. Perhaps this is just your style. For example, whenever I meet a new person and we're hitting it off, within probably 5 minutes of meeting this person, I'm bringing up a topic around sex, mind-expanding chemicals, or something else that's not very mainstream. Something that you wouldn't expect to be talking about with somebody 5 minutes after meeting them. But that's my authentic personality. That's my true style. No one has called me creepy for this because I own it as much as I do. And I'll say things, I'll use our techniques like pre-frames. I'll say, hey, you mind if I ask you a personal question? Or, hey, I'm really into this thing as one of my passions. What about you? And then we'll go into that. But talking about, sexual positions, crazy drug stories, whatever else within 5-10 minutes of meeting a person has not gotten me called any bad names. In fact, it's gotten me the opposite. It's gotten me dates and friends and long, interesting conversations. So it's not the subject matter that makes you creepy, it's how you present it. So to sum it all up, true creepiness is not doing or saying what you are truly thinking or feeling. It's when your outsides don't match your insides, which causes people to detect subconsciously that something is wrong here, right? And then they become uncomfortable. This guy isn't telling me the full truth. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I know I'm not getting the whole story here, and therefore I'm uncomfortable. And when people are uncomfortable around you, they're not going to want to associate with you. So make sure you're being honest, direct, authentic. You're being socially free. If you need any help with that, click the link in the description and sign up for our course. You want to use your empathy before you go into a situation and say, if that were me being approached, would I respond to this positively? And lastly, you want to make sure that you are calibrated and sensitive to the social situations and circumstances that you find yourself in. And that's the kind of thing that can take years of guessing and testing if you're out there trying to do it on your own, or you can call us up and we can tell you situation by situation what are the most ideal behaviors to follow. So I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. I hope that's given you a lot more clarity around what it means to be creepy and how to avoid it. I hope you're no longer fearing this getting called creepy, and you get out there and make some approaches and be ballsy.
So that's right. We're double teaming for this video to try and get you the results that you want, so you can have an amazing girlfriend or a few in your life, because we love you that much. So if you don't have my free report, my social freedom secret, I don't know why it's free. I give a lot of exercises in there that get you out of your head and just taking chances and living better. Also, it adds you to my newsletter, which once in a while I email people and I give them some pretty good tips too. So I don't know why you're not in there. If you're not in there, I don't know what you're thinking. And that's it, really. I love you. I'll see you when I see you. God bless you.